See our first season in a while where both Dame and James Harden are going to be sitting out for the opening tip-off because they both don't want to play for the teams they're currently on. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. So we're going to be moving right into the NFL with another disgruntled star wanting to leave their team. Looks like we're going to have quite the... Starting to see a pattern in this episode, but we're going to be talking about Jonathan Taylor finally getting permission to seek a trade away from the Indianapolis Colts. In the last couple of weeks, it's been one of the we didn't get the opportunity to talk about it much, but it's been one of the most interesting stories in the last couple of weeks with what Jim Irsay has had to say and what Jonathan Taylor's had to say in the entire thing. It's been pretty entertaining. It also ties right into the segment that we did a couple weeks back about the running back market as a whole and how a lot of players are suddenly struggling to really get paid after a couple of years in the league, and whether it's fair or whether it's not fair, who knows. And Jonathan Taylor has been one of the best players in the league for the last couple of years, and obviously the Colts want to keep him, and they want to make sure that he stays here, but he does not want to be here, and he has made that very clear. And Jim Irsay basically said he'd rather die than see him on another team, which is, I believe that's right. Caleb, what do you think on this entire thing? Him finally getting granted his freedom, and just on Jim Irsay's comments as a whole, because I know we both wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of insane. I'll read out the full comment from him because I just think it's kind of crazy. He said, if I die tonight and Jonathan Taylor is out of the league, no one's going to miss us. The league goes on. We know that. The National Football League rolls on. It doesn't matter who comes and who goes. It's just a privilege to be a part of it. That's insane. Basically saying that
isn't it?
that if Jonathan Taylor is out of the league, nobody will notice he's gone. That is a great way to make your star player feel valued in contract talks. Like, I don't know. That was a couple weeks ago, and now, given the context of everything that's happened,
a lot has happened since then.
That is he really dug himself his own hole, because now he's trying to say, oh, we've got this really valuable running back that we would like people to trade a first-round pick for, but you've already said that if he's out of the league, nobody would even notice. So just great work by Jim Irsay there. He's kind of been known for just being like a little bit stupid all of the time. So especially now, I don't really know what's happening, but like he said some outlandish things. I don't remember. There was something he said during the draft. I think he said something about like, oh, should we take Will Levis after drafting? Let me pull this up. So he drafted Anthony Richardson at number 4, and then he was like, "Oh, should we draft Will Levis?"
No, I do remember that.
He said, "Colts fans, would you take Will Levis at number 2 if you're on the board for Colts in 4 hours from now, and go Montana Young for franchise?" Jim, buddy, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's just that would be a terrible mismanagement of draft capital. We already know that he doesn't really know how to pick his quarterbacks with him just sending a veteran in to die the last 3 years. It's just been a quarterback graveyard. Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, everything. I don't know. He's just mismanaging. I know GM obviously takes a little bit of blame from it, but the one consistent thing has been Jim Irsay just saying things that don't make any sense and just digging his team even further into a hole. It's things like these that make you think like, oh, at some point you need to kind of give up the franchise. Like, it's not as bad as like a Dan Snyder situation, obviously, because he hasn't actually done anything bad. He's just been stupid. And as a Colts fan, I don't know how...
I think we see this a lot with owners that talk to the media a lot. I think it's a fairly common thing where generally they'll end up saying something stupid, or somebody will end up saying something stupid, or there are some owners across like the 4 major sports in North America who are good at it, who talk to the media a lot, are a big part of the team, and just do a good job with that entire thing. And there are a lot who are really, really not good at it. And I think Jim Irsay, after this entire thing, definitely falls on the side of not very good at it. It feels like if, obviously you mentioned maybe he needs to give up the team. But I don't know if that might be a bit far stretched for me. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of success in Indianapolis for a bit. But I feel like if anything, he just needs to maybe go a little more hands off. I think it's just a sign that maybe he's not the one who should be making the decisions there. Maybe that's what needs to be said.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's this entire thing is absolutely hilarious though, for sure. Obviously, you pointed out they're going to be going for a first round pick after basically running Jonathan Taylor through the mud in the media.
Yeah.
About how he's not yada yada yada. If he's gone, nobody will miss him. Yada yada yada. And then right at the bottom of this article that I've got here, they've got the Irsay after all the things that the thing is I did enter this and me and Caleb were reading this article a little bit, just trying to figure out where we wanted to start off. I did try to read out what Irsay said to the media because they have the entire quote here, and it is really poorly done. And I have no idea how to go about reading this. It is quite the chunk of text. But at the end of the entire thing, it just says, Irsay admitted to no contract talks have taken place with Taylor, not even exchanging any numbers, as the running back market continues to get worse. Taylor chimed in his thoughts last month of running backs not getting paid. Yeah, that just goes back to the whole running back market thing. Obviously, we've all... I think everybody's talked about that, including us. We've talked about it plenty. But this entire thing is absolutely hilarious to me. I think it's terrible management from Irsay. Jonathan Taylor's going to probably get traded somewhere for probably not a lot. I don't think they're going to get a lot.
They've
back
tanked.
for him,
They've
which is
tanked their own
so
trade
strange
value.
Considering
Considering
how incredible of a running back Jonathan Taylor is, and he's still young. I know he didn't necessarily have the greatest year last year, I don't believe. But the previous year, he was incredible. He's so quick and he's so athletic that he really can be the type of running back that can really help an offense. But when you say that when he's gone, nobody's going to miss him, that's usually when you're going to start to, have issues with
Yeah, and there's the whole thing of him going
just
back and forth. It's just you don't know where he stands anymore. Because there's the whole thing about him saying if he's gone, nobody would miss him. And then being oh, he's so valuable, we're going to get a deal done. Like he said, where is it? But basically saying, we're not trading him, not now, not in October. It's never going to happen. I just don't know where you stand. It doesn't make any sense. I found an article from SB Nation, and I think it summed it up pretty well. It said, knowing when to be quiet has never been Jim Irsay's strong suit. This situation is messy enough as it is, and he's just making it even messier. He's thrusting it into the public eye when it really doesn't need to be.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen in the last year as well that running backs really aren't worth first-round picks. It is interesting to me that he even thinks that he's going to get that prior to his comments, and how he's definitely not going to get that now. I'm really curious to see how this entire thing turns out, because I want to see what the Colts get back for him, and obviously also where Jonathan Taylor goes, because he, like I just mentioned, he is the type of running back who he can probably go somewhere and absolutely light it up for an offense and potentially be that game-changing running back or just piece in an offense that could really just absolutely change the game. And I know there's been a couple rumors around the Dolphins. They were also involved in Dalvin Cook, so clearly they're looking for a running back. That'd be an interesting team to see him on. I don't know if there's been any other teams that have really come out of the woodwork to be interested in Jonathan Taylor, but I know if I was a young team that needed a bit more talent out there, I know I'd definitely be jumping in to try and get a hold on him.
I think...
especially if you can get him for cheap.
Yeah, and I have... Unless I just lost it. Yeah, no, I do. I have the odds up for who might be Jonathan Taylor's next team. And yeah, the Dolphins are the biggest one. I think the Dolphins make the most sense because they don't really have a star back there, and that's kind of the one part of their offense that's kind of lacking. If you get a guy like Jonathan Taylor back there, that's insane. The top...
And also the fact that they were also involved in... There's a lot of rumors around them getting Dalvin Cook. Didn't end up getting Dalvin Cook. So it's I don't think it should be surprising to see them going after another star running
No.
back.
And I don't know if you want to read. So I'll give you the top. The top five are the Dolphins at 1, the Bears at 2, the Ravens at 3, the Broncos at 4, the Cowboys at 5.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's interesting. They still have Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard and Jonathan Taylor duo, I guess. It would be interesting.
I guess, yeah.
It would be interesting.
It would be interesting. I feel like they're similar. They're two quick guys though. Like I don't know.
It does feel like they're playing the same role.
That's kind of what I was gonna say. Yeah, like it's just I don't understand how that would work. What did you say for number 4 again?
Number 4 was the Broncos.
Broncos. That's another interesting one. They already have Javonte Williams over there.
Yeah, he is injured. He is injured though. Hurt. Like I know. Yeah.
Yeah. When he's
injury prone.
But do we know when he's going to be coming back?
That's a
injury prone. Yeah. Well, as most running backs are in this day and age.
It doesn't hurt to have another.
But
he was playing. He was playing in the last game, so I think he should be good to go. He is coming off a torn ACL, I think, but he should be good to go for the start of the season.
Yeah, I do remember him getting hurt last year, but before he did get hurt, he was looking very, very good.
Mm-hmm. The Ravens are another interesting one.
So,
I think the big 3 are the 3 at the top of the list in terms of Ravens, Bears, and Dolphins, because the Ravens, you're looking at J.K. Dobbins as a starter right now. Imagine Jonathan Taylor and Lamar Jackson as a duo. Like that's insane.
That is insane. God,
the Dolphins
never playing Madden again.
Yeah, the Dolphins with Raheem Mostert. Like that's put him in that backfield. Imagine doing some stuff like pull a fake jet sweep with Tyreek and then send Jonathan Taylor around the other side. Like that would be insane.
That is unfair.
And then similar kind of thing to Lamar, but Justin Fields and Jonathan Taylor. The starting running back there right now is Khalil Herbert, who's a good player, but not Jonathan Taylor caliber, obviously.
There's not a lot of players in this league who are Jonathan Taylor caliber.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it'll be
It all just comes back to how much you value a running back.
Yes.
It all comes back to that.
Yep.
Because let's say you are the Dolphins. Are you going to give up a second-round pick or third-round pick?
Yeah.
For them? Because also think about what... I don't remember exactly what the 49ers had to give up for a guy like McCaffrey. And but that's the only similar kind of trade that I can think of that went down. And even with McCaffrey being more injury prone than I think Jonathan Taylor has been. Jonathan Taylor's obviously gotten hurt, but not as much as McCaffrey. Although maybe that could just be him not being in the league as long.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to be I believe it was what was it for McCaffrey?
It was a second
I'd have to look up.
It was a second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and then a fifth-round pick for the next year.
Okay, so would you trade that same package if you were the Dolphins for Jonathan Taylor?
Yes.
I think that's the question.
Yes.
Yeah?
I would. It's a lot of draft capital, but I would probably.
It is.
Like, maybe not quite as much. Like, it is a lot of draft capital, but you're still not giving up a first-round pick. I would probably do a little bit less. Like, I'd take away maybe the third rounder or the fourth rounder. Maybe you want to do like a second and a fourth and second and a fifth, like that kind of thing. Maybe even second and a third to only give away like 2 picks instead of 4. That might be a little bit more feasible, just in terms of how much capital you're actually giving up. But for a player of his caliber and how much it can add to an offense, with the caveat that you do have to extend him, then I think that's interesting. And I do want to say, like, to kind of head back to what you were saying, like how much you trade for him is kind of just how much you value running backs in general. And I do think this situation is kind of a microcosm of everything that we've been hearing about and talking about with running backs in general. It's the biggest name player that has been dealing with something like this. It's had the most people speaking out about it, and it's going to impact a team the most. So I think however this turns out, it might set a standard for how that goes in the future. If he gets a lot back and gets signed to a big extension, maybe the future's looking a little brighter for running backs. If even Jonathan Taylor can't fetch that kind of draft capital or money in an extension when the whole league is able to basically bid on him, then I think things might be looking a little bit rough for running backs in the future.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. I think this has the potential to be not franchise, an like league changing deal, whichever way it goes. It could be good, could be bad.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see how it works out. I think it's gonna probably lean towards bad if I were to give a prediction. I don't think anything that we've seen in the last couple of years is showing anything that'll really make that makes me very confident in the fact that Jonathan Taylor's going to pull a lot and then sign a massive extension. He'll get good money. Don't get me wrong, but he's not going to get wide receiver money. He's not going to get linebacker money. He's going to get running back money.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that, I think it will be smaller than anticipated. When a player like Dalvin Cook is getting like a middle of preseason free agent deal kind of thing, Jonathan Taylor, obviously younger, more valuable, but Dalvin Cook is still a star in this league, and to see him get that little is kind of indicative of what owners think right now. And so it'll be interesting to see, but I think it might turn out that way. Just to finish off this segment, I think there's been a couple things floating around, and I'll propose them both to you. I think one of them is stupid, and one of them is interesting. So the one that I think is stupid is that, in terms of potential landing spot, is the Eagles. So the Eagles, in terms of odds, are actually decently high. They're like middle of the pack, but like top half.
The Eagles currently have they have
an
Swift.
Insane depth chart. Like, it is so deep.
Yeah.
Why would you don't out of any of the
Sanders
teams?
Or does he go?
No, he's gone. But everybody else there, it's 4 players deep, and all of them have significant playing time. Like experience. DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott. All of these players have been used in games before, significantly. Like, they're all very like high caliber running backs. All 4 of them. Are you going to add another one?
Can I just to play devil's advocate to that a little bit? And I think I already know what your response is going to be, but I'm going to say it anyway. None of those players are anything as good as Jonathan Taylor. Like, we've seen flashes from Swift in the past where he's looked really, really strong and who knows, he could be that for the Eagles. And we've seen same thing with Penny despite injuries. I think we can both say as Seattle Seahawks fans that we've seen him play really well at times and we've seen him play really bad at times. Like, there are, and just as a whole, there's a lot of depth there. It would definitely not hurt to bring in a guy like Jonathan Taylor to really just enhance that room. Obviously, you'd have to kick one of the guys off the depth chart, so you'd have to find a way to probably get rid of one of them in that deal, which I'm sure is fine. It's doable. And then I don't know. I think it would help the Eagles out a lot, but I totally get where you're coming from. They're definitely not necessarily the most. It's not the most needed spot, but it is still an upgrade.
Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, Hurts and we've been talking about quarterback and running back matchups this entire time with Fields and Taylor and potentially Lamar and Taylor. Hurts and Taylor would be pretty damn cool too. Like, that's another really cool backfield. So I don't know. Yeah. I see it. I don't see it as much as the other ones, but I see it.
No, I just I just wouldn't understand that. You've already invested so much in the position by just having those 4 players, and the amount of investment you would have to put into a guy like Jonathan Taylor. Like, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place about running backs, is because it can hamper you. And yeah. I think at a position as injury prone as running back, I think having this much depth is actually a good approach. I think adding to it with a big name star player would actually, like, if he gets injured, it hurts more than it helps, right? They already have enough players to cover that. That's why I don't understand it as much. Because, yes, obviously none of them are as good as Jonathan Taylor. But as a whole, because rest is valuable, right? Like, as a whole, if you're giving each of them a few downs, like, if you're rotating those guys out consistently, then, I don't know, obviously, they're still not going to be as good, but the value of keeping your guys fresh that late in the game is, like, I think very important. But I'll move on to finish off this segment. This is another one that I think I don't even know. I'm not even going to look at cap space because I don't really care. Cap spaces lie anyways. But this is another one that I think is interesting, and I think this one is less stupid. I think it's actually very interesting. I saw in an article that proposed that Jonathan Taylor could go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that is significantly more interesting. Isaiah Pacheco is their starting running back. That is significantly
more interesting.
He's currently
good too, but
he's currently injured.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think it's minor, but I don't know if he's going to be there to play the first game. He has a shoulder injury, so he's not 100%.
Yeah, let's bring in Jonathan Taylor for week 1. Let's go!
Yeah. I just think it's something that'll be very interesting.
Oh, God.
In terms of how broken that could be.
That offense would be so lethal. Holy crap. Yeah. What do you even do? You focus on the run game, and Patrick Mahomes is going to literally throw it into the end zone from his end zone. You focus on the pass game, and Jonathan Taylor is going to be in your end zone before you can even realize you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. What do you even focus on?
Yeah. And that's the thing.
That would be unfair.
It would be unfair. Are the Chiefs going to do it? No. Have they ever really valued running backs other than when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the end of the first round? Which, again, how did that work out for them? Like, no. Is it going to happen? No. Is it something interesting to think about? Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to have dreams about or nightmares about if you're a fan of an AFC West team. But, yeah, I think to some...
Thankfully an NFC fan.
Yeah, no. I'm glad the Seahawks played the Chiefs
last
year and will not have to
it's
do
all
so for
fun
a while.
and games until Jonathan it's all fun and games until Jonathan Taylor gets traded to the 49ers and creates an ultimate backfield featuring Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, and himself.
Simon, I will leave the podcast. Don't speak this blasphemy anymore.
What, you don't want to see the 3-man backfield? They're going to have 3 running backs in the backfield running all over the place like a bunch of goddamn idiots. It's going to be great.
I think I'd rather die.
God, I hate football.